Hey everybody, it's Nathaniel Avila reporting from Greater Orlando, and I'm here with Timbrel Hildebrand reporting from Crowley, Texas. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and today we're going to be talking about the Rise of Skywalker. Hooray!
Whoop whoop.
So, what did you think about this particular installment of the sequel trilogy? It is the final one.
I really enjoyed it. I went and saw it several times when it was in theaters, back when the theaters were still open. I think one time I actually went and saw it twice in the same day.
You
So
did?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. But then again, I've enjoyed pretty much all of these sequel installments that they've made.
Did you like buy two tickets, or did you just go to one theater and then just stuck around for the next showing and then just go back
No,
in?
I went with my siblings earlier in the day, and then me and my boyfriend were hanging out, and we went and saw it.
Okay. So, I went to the Disney World premiere of this film.
Oh,
So,
well, you're cool.
yeah, it was like a huge. It was like they did it in this huge auditorium, and like there was like packed to the brim. It was one of those auditoriums with a balcony.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, and it was like packed, and I have not heard so many people clapping in one sitting than in this screening. Like every single time something happens, the place would just erupt in applause.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So okay. So let's do some background, and the story of this particular film starts all the way back in October of 2012 when Star Wars creator George Lucas sold his production company Lucasfilm and all the Star Wars stuff to Walt Disney. So Disney subsequently announced the Star Wars sequel trilogy in June of 2014, and it was announced that Rian Johnson, who is the writer director of The Last Jedi, would write the story treatment for Episode 9. In August of 2015, a guy named Colin Trevorrow, who made Jurassic World before this, was announced to be the director of the film. So he was to write the script with frequent collaborator Derek Connolly, and in April 2017, Johnson stated that he was not involved writing the film whatsoever. So in February 2016, Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed that pre-production on Episode 9 had begun. Carrie Fisher actually died in 2016, so December of 2016. So they had to figure out how to go work around that. So in late of April of 2017, Disney announced that the film would be released on May 24th of 2019. A month later, filming was expected to begin in January of 2018, but it was pushed back to August. And in August of 2017, it was announced that Jack Thorne would rewrite the script. And September 5th, Lucasfilm stated that Trevorrow left production following creative differences with Kathleen Kennedy, most likely to after failing to deliver a satisfactory script despite writing in several drafts. So Johnson was rumored as the top choice to replace Trevorrow to direct the film, but he said that it was never in the plan for him to direct Episode 9, so he really didn't want to do it. So the next day, it was announced that JJ Abrams, who made The Force Awakens, would return to direct the film, and the film's release date would be moved to December 20th, 2019. The story team met with George Lucas before writing a new script, which Abrams co-wrote with Chris Terrio, while Trevorrow and Connolly retained the story credits. The story was rewritten to the extent before the filming was completed, and the film was produced by Abrams' company Bad Robot, along with Kathleen Kennedy and Michelle Rejwan. So before filming, Episode 9 was originally given like the working title Black Diamond, which was then changed to Trixie in 2018. The change was most likely to insert the Roman numeral 1X within the working title. So the title Rise of Skywalker was then announced in April 2019, and the rest was history. So that's the background of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So, how do we feel about the characters and everything in this film?
Well, I mean, from the beginning, I have loved the new trio, I guess per se, that they've introduced in these new movies. I love Ray, Finn, and Poe, and that they're really the crowning characters of these movies. And I really liked this movie because we got to kind of for the first time see all three of them working in tandem together for an extended period of time in the movie. So I thought that was really cool. It was interesting to see Rey kind of again like come more into who she is, because Rey is the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was really neat for us to get to see where she came from, and I guess kind of see her complete, like her, I guess, yeah, I might sound cliche, but kind of complete her destiny, sort of, within the Star Wars story.
Mm-hmm. Were you surprised when they said her actual birth name?
I was not expecting her to be a Palpatine. I'll be honest. I probably should have expected it. Other people, I think, kind of saw it coming. Me, I guess I didn't really know what to expect. So I was still kind of holding out hope that she was somehow related to Luke. But no, I thought it was way more interesting that they made her related to Palpatine. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, do you like that there's like this fight of the dark and the light within her, and that as amplified with her being from like a descendant of this major like Sith Lord?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because we haven't really ever. I mean, like I guess we have had a character like that. It's sort of the same like with Luke. Luke descended from Darth Vader, um, but to have Rey descend from Palpatine, that was like she came from a far more evil line, I would argue, than the Skywalkers did. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting, you know, to sort of like explain that conflict in her with her genealogy.
Yeah. And did we like the fact that Rey and Ren totally made out?
It didn't bother me. I was okay with it. I
Okay.
thought it was nice that we got to have that moment right before Ren died, because I got to see, I guess, a little bit of the the light in Ben's eyes, sort of like before he died.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to see him and Rey sort of have a moment. I thought, because I mean, the Last Jedi clearly built sort of this romantic tension between the two of them. At least I definitely thought it did.
Mm-hmm.
So, and many others did also. So I thought it was cool. Some people didn't like it, which again, I mean, I guess I can kind of see their perspective, that it felt, you know, I guess people weren't expecting Rey to have sort of a romantic connection, but I thought it was interesting because they kind of have that connection. They're the dyad and the Force and stuff like that. And also, this is new in that we haven't really seen this dynamic where there's a romantic tension between the lead antagonist and the lead protagonist in a Star Wars movie. So I thought it was interesting, and I mean, maybe it's just the girly side of me, but I'm a sucker for a complicated romance. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was neat.
Yeah, like I totally shipped Ben and Ray. I was a total fan of that, and I really wanted them to make out. So I was thumbs up. And also that's also kind of why I didn't want her to be like a Skywalker, because then that would make them cousins. And
Oh
then
yeah, that wouldn't work if they were cousins. That'd
yeah,
be weird.
and
That's
then
not
so
the weirdest thing that's happened in Star Wars movies. I mean, Luke and Leia did make out, and they were twins, and that was like everyone still tries to kind of forget that happened. I think.
yeah, like, but I know that George Lucas did not intend them to be brother and sister yet.
I
And
think
when,
he had this idea for there to be twin characters, but no, I do not think in the first movie he was intending for them to be twins. Because
yeah,
if he did, that's really weird.
that is very weird. So like, so what did you think about the relationship between Finn and Ray? Did you think Finn was like a total simp?
I'm sorry?
Do you think Finn was a total like a simp? Do you know what a simp is?
No, I don't know what that means.
Let me look it up real quick.
Why would you use it if you didn't know what it meant?
No, I know what it means, but it's hard for me to say it. Let me see. Urban Dictionary.
Oh,
Uh,
yay. That's a reliable source.
yeah, it is. Someone who will say anything to please someone, particularly a girl, in the hopes that they will be in good favor with that person.
Oh, well, no, I just think Rey and Finn, like, while I was totally okay with her and Kylo Ren having this sort of, like, I guess, sort of romantic tension, I always really wanted her to ultimately, I know, again, this really isn't what the movie is about, but I always wanted her to be with Finn, because they built this sort of relationship that started off as a friendship, and it felt very much like there was a romantic tension between the two of them throughout the movies that I really liked, but it felt more developed and less weird than between her and Ren. I like to think that after everything that happened, her and Finn like started a new Jedi Academy together and stuff like that. I like to think that. But anyway, I think Finn is a really cool character, and we really see his devotion to Rey. Some people even argue that like there's not a romantic tension between the two of them. I don't think that's true, but I think that sort of bond between him and Rey is very compelling throughout the story because he cares about her so deeply. He's willing to follow her and help her, but also he cares very deeply about the rebellion and like, you know, doing what's right and all that jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Finn's a great character. I think people who would say that are giving him an unfair shake because he's a really cool guy.
Yeah. So like I think that's also why Abrams made the character of Jana, uh, who is the other uh, former stormtrooper who leads that group of other stormtroopers who
Mm-hmm.
ride the horses. So it's also kind of like that. So fans can pair him with another character.
I don't think that's what they were doing.
You really don't think so?
I didn't really feel any I like anything honestly. I felt like the Jonah character really wasn't necessary. If there was one beef that I kind of had with it, like I didn't really feel like her character was necessary. If that's like I love this movie, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but I will say that if there's one thing that it was kind of suffering from, it's that it was kind of throwing in a few too many like side characters, and Jonah I think was one of them. There was nothing wrong with her. I thought it was cool that he met some other fellow stormtroopers, but no, if there was supposed to be a romantic tension there, I don't think it was really there. It was very clear that I could see that Jonna maybe had a thing for Finn, but Finn clearly did not reciprocate those emotions.
Yeah, because he was all like, "Oh, Ray, I love you, milady."
Yeah, that sort of thing. Honestly, Finn picks up the ladies the easiest in this movie. It seems, he
Uh-huh.
found Rey in the first movie, then Rose was all for him in the second movie, and now Jonna seems to be. But either way, I got her purpose in the film, but I don't. I feel like we could have used a character we already had in place of her. I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. I don't know. It was interesting to see the other stormtroopers, but I don't know if she was necessary per se.
Right, and that also brings me to the character of Rose, like that character. What do you think she was very underused in this particular film?
I mean, yeah, I do think she got shafted, and unfortunately, that probably was due to the poor fan reception, and that's unfortunate, I think, for the actress, because I think the actress is very talented, so I think it's not super cool that she got shafted. But, if you think about it, kind of like in Return of the Jedi, Lando had a much smaller role than he did in Empire Strikes Back. Not to the point, Rose had a much smaller role than Lando did in Return of the Jedi, but if you think of it like that, in this movie they're focusing more on the trio, so other characters are they're kind of taking a back seat. But that's another thing. Like I feel like characters like Jonna or who is the girl that Poe had a thing for? Zori, is that
Zuri,
her name?
Zuri,
Zuri.
Zuri.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like characters like those. Maybe if we'd gotten, and again, like I'm okay with some of the new characters because Star Wars movies are all about introducing new and interesting characters within each movie. But I feel like Rose could have had a little bit more time you know, if they had maybe written out some of these less meaningful characters per se. So I do feel kind of bad for her, but at the same time, like I was more interested in learning about the leading character's story, so it didn't bother me that much. So
Mm-hmm.
I do feel bad for the lady who played her because I think she's a good actress and it stinks that she got shafted. But again, like Rose didn't feel really. I feel like Rose would have messed up the trio aspect if they
Mm-hmm.
had thrown her in with the rest of the group. That's
Right.
the only thing.
Yeah. And so Kelly Marie Tran, who's the actress's name, I believe she was bullied off of Twitter because nobody
Yeah,
liked
that's
her.
really not cool.
And I don't know why they didn't like her. I never
Yeah,
understood that.
yeah, it's really not fair. There was nothing really wrong with her. I think if anything, she just felt. The only thing about Rose's character is it felt kind of thrown in the Last Jedi. Like when I went to go see the Last Jedi, I was excited because I wanted to see Poe and Finn go on
Uh-huh.
a mission together. I was really excited to see their dynamic grow, and they kind of threw in this new character, which again, she wasn't bad, and I wasn't crazy about the maybe romantic thing that again is never addressed again because it was weird and didn't work between her and Finn, because I wasn't crazy about that because I liked because I thought the relationship between him and Rey had been well built in the first movie. So when they brought in someone else, I wasn't super crazy about that. But I mean, she's not a bad character or anything, so I don't get why everyone gave her such a hard time, because, again, like, she's a good actress, her character was sympathetic and sweet. I mean, I can understand why people weren't crazy about her, but there's really nothing to dislike about Rose.
Yeah, like speaking of like other characters who were kind of might have been not as used as well. What do we think about how they used the character of Leia in this film?
Leia?
Yeah,
Oh, well, actually, on the contrary, I think Leia was fairly tastefully done, because they really had. It was very, very sad what happened with Carrie Fisher, as well as her mother. Right after,
yeah,
I think it was right after Rogue One came out.
mm-hmm,
Um, really sad what happened, but I think given the circumstances, they really did it in a fairly tasteful way in including Leia, actually including footage of Leia in the film. Because honestly, what I was expecting when when we heard that Carrie Fisher had passed away, I'm like, well, what they'll probably do is in the opening scroll, you'll see in big bright yellow letters at the beginning of the movie, Princess Leia has passed on, or something like that. It'd be something like that. I was
yeah,
expecting that, but then when they dropped a trailer that showed her in it, I was like, wait, is this like a flashback or something like that? But no, it was. I think they did the best they could with what they have, so I give them props for that, for still trying to include her in the movie, even though Carrie Fisher obviously wasn't around. So I felt like her character was. I think she served a good purpose, because in this movie, the Rise of Skywalker, the Skywalker who is rising is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the Skywalker who is rising, and you're getting to see this wonderful kind of redemption arc that, honestly, at the beginning, when this series first was created, I didn't think was possible for a character like him. After he killed Han Solo, I was like, oh no, he's got to die, he's got to go.
uh-huh,
And so you kind of see how Han, Leia, and Rey all fought to kind of bring Ben back to the light, and I thought that was
yeah,
neat. So I thought Leia played a good role given what they were able to use
yeah,
with Carrie Fisher's footage.
yeah. And I think the biggest surprise was in that major like defining scene where Ren decides to go back to the light side was
Uh
when
huh.
Harrison Ford appeared again on
Oh,
screen.
that was really nice. That had me tearing up a little bit.
Oh, snap. You should have seen the crowd when I was there. They went wild
it
when
it was nice because they pointed out the fact that he wasn't a force ghost or anything like that.
hmm
It was just kind of like in his head. But I think that part is still very important. The part that really gets me is when Ben looks at his dad and he goes, "Dad," and then he stops and he can't finish his statement, and Han goes, "I know," which for avid Star Wars fans lets you know that Ben was about to say "I love you," because that's always the "I love you, I know" thing. That's the Star Wars kind of trademark. So that part gets me. I love
yeah.
that part.
It's also kind of really really interesting because Harrison Ford said that he would never play Han Solo again after The
Oh
Force
yeah, but
Awakens.
then they offered him some money and he changed his tune a little bit.
Okay. So, yeah, like speaking of other characters who were from the original trilogy who appeared in this one, what about how they used like Lando in this film?
Okay, I thought that was fun. I thought it was fun. I always think it's fun that they bring back the old characters. Some people might say it's cheap for nostalgia's sake, but I don't think there's any problem with harkening back to the old movies, because the old movies are why people love these new ones. So I thought it was really cool that we got to see Lando. I thought that was super neat that they popped inside of his little trailer or whatever and he took off his mask and they're like, "Oh, it's Lando." I can't help but wonder, like, does he know that Han died? Because otherwise, that's super awkward.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, he did reclaim the Millennium Falcon again.
Yeah, no kidding. He's thinking, "Huh, finally got my ship back."
Lol. Like also, like what did you think about that fake out death of Chewbacca?
Oh no, no, oh my goodness, Nathaniel, I cannot tell you how my heart dropped to my stomach when that happened.
Yeah.
I was watching it and the ship blew up because Rey lets out her lightning, which also I think is a really cool part for Rey, because it's kind of showing, like, I guess it's revealing that aspect that we see in pretty much every powerful Jedi
Mhm.
throughout the saga. Anakin, Luke, and Rey. They're kind of the core three Jedi. Is that every Force user is capable of using their powers. Like they're capable of great good and great evil. So we see that there, where she just lets out a lightning blast because she can't control what she's doing. And man, when that happened, I'm telling you, my heart dropped to my stomach, and I was just thinking, no, they cannot kill Chewie like that, just off screen. That's not fair to Chewie. So then, when they brought it back, I felt a wave of relief. I was like, okay, oh thank goodness, Chewie's okay. All right.
Yeah, that was a wave of emotions, huh? That was a roller coaster.
Yeah. Oh my word. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I think one of the most heartbreaking parts of this movie. I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here,
Yeah.
but just speaking of Chewbacca,
Yeah.
is the part that like really kind of got me in tears was when it was Poe, Finn, and Chewie, and they returned to base to find out that Princess Leia had died,
Uh huh.
and Chewie just broke down and stuff. That broke my heart
Oh
completely
no.
because he's the last one and of the kind of the original gang, and that just that broke my heart.
Yeah, and then what about the scene at the end where one of the guys gives Chewbacca the medal?
Oh yeah, with Maz. I mean, that was sweet. I thought that was nice.
Okay, it was a little something for the fans.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Yeah, like okay, have you ever read Duel of the Fates?
No, I have not.
Okay, um, Duel of the Fates is that leaked Colin Trevorrow script that I was mentioning.
Oh, you mean yeah, the one where they were gonna have Finn and Rose like lead an army of stormtroopers or something like that. I heard about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And in that version, Poe and Rey were supposed to get together.
Um. Yeah. Nah.
You don't like that?
Well, I was okay with. I thought it was pretty obvious in the movie that Poe probably. Let me just take a tangent from that. I loved Poe and Rey's relationship that they showed here
Uh huh.
because in the movies leading up to this, Poe and Rey have gotten little to no screen time together, and you just kind of had that one interaction between them in The Last Jedi where he's like, "Oh, here you're Rey," and you kind of feel like he's almost flirting with her. It's just a little weird,
Yeah.
but honestly makes sense knowing Poe. It feels like Poe would do that, and I love how we get to see how their relationship has cultivated over this, I guess, year or so that the rebellion has been cultivating. And I think from their first interaction where they're talking about how the ship's on fire and BB-8 got a tree knocked on him, and she goes, you know what you are? You're difficult. You're very, and they're arguing back and forth. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's great to see that. I think it's very much that he probably wants to impress her just because she's a girl, blah, blah, blah. But obviously they're both very strong-willed, so they butt heads, and I absolutely loved that.
Yeah, and also, I believe in the Duel of the Fates, Rey was supposed to get like this dual edge lightsaber, uh,
Hmm.
with that like how what Maul had, and but it's like blue instead of red, because she's a good guy. Um, what did you think? Would that have been cooler if she had that in this film?
I mean, I guess that would have been cool. I really, honestly, when we got to see that she had a yellow lightsaber at the end of the movie, that I really felt a little disappointed because I really wanted to see her in action with that yellow lightsaber.
Yeah,
So I liked that they gave her a yellow blade at the end because it kind of showed that like she was her own thing. It's a rebirth for the Jedi, stuff like that. So I like the movie as is. So I have no desire to read the Duel of the Fates or
okay,
anything like that because I'm happy with the way they did it in the movie.
all right. What do you think about the character of Hux?
Hux.
Yeah,
Honestly, I like what they did with him. He did go out like a chump, but I was happy with the way they made him go out like a chump. Like that. Again, this movie has so many just kind of, I would describe them as golden moments, and I
yeah,
think that was one of them where they're about to execute Poe and Rey and Finn and Chewie, and then Hux goes, "I'm the spy," and they go, "What?" Honestly, I thought it would have been great if they had just brought Hux with them and made him an unwilling kind of like partner with the rest of their group. That would have been great.
yeah,
But I mean, Hux's character, it makes sense that he would have gone out like a chump because he's just this kind of little swarmy, bootlicker kind of. So it was surprising that they shot him like that. But I thought honestly it made way for I can't remember what that other admiral's name was that
Pride,
kind of took control.
Pride.
Pride was that it? Yeah, Pride. Yeah. Oh, which is played by an amazing actor. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's great. So I thought that was interesting that we got to have because I always enjoyed the character of Hux.
Yeah,
Even though he's a villain, I found him very delightful as a villain. So it was. I thought it was cool to get him to see him kind of contribute to the good guys.
yeah.
I thought that was fun.
So like also like so what do we think about like the Knights of Ren? Did they do anything good?
I will say that storyline was a little was underused.
Mhm.
I will say that they did kind of get shafted, and that could have been cooler, and they didn't really expound upon that. It's just there was so much happening in this movie. You could only do so much.
Yeah. I think they were only there just to get beat up by Ren.
Yeah, which was awesome, by the way.
Okay. Like that scene where Rey gives Ren the blue lightsaber through their
That was
force
so
thing.
cool. That made me so happy when he turned good and they were fighting together. That was awesome.
Yeah. Also, in the Duel of the Fates, the character of Hux, he really wanted to be a Jedi. He wanted to like use the Force,
Interesting.
and that's why he hated Ren so much. Um, and he ended up killing himself on Mace Windu's lightsaber.
Okay, see, that just seems like too much to me.
Really? Why?
I don't know, like throwing in Mace Windu's lightsaber, that seems so random.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, in that version, Rey's last name was actually a guy. It was actually Solano.
Solano, I
Yeah.
don't know what that means.
I think they really just combined Solo and Organa together.
What?
Solana.
That's weird.
Yeah. Do you think this version is the superior version?
Well, I've never read Duel of the Fates, and I really don't want to, because I'm happy with the way the movie turned out. You
Okay.
know, so I'm cool with it. It might seem a little, I guess, cliche to just attach her to a name that's already a part of it, but at the same time, I'm okay with it. It works with the movie, and I still think it's enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. Like if you go on IMDb, the first image that they show you is the image of Rey and Kylo Ren making out.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Yeah. That's like top image. I don't know why.
eh.
All right. Any final thoughts about this film?
Um. Well, I mean, I guess if there is one thing that I think I love the most about this film, it's seeing Ben Solo's character arc, and I think a lot. So I've heard him referred to as like the better version of Anakin, like what Anakin was supposed to be
Yeah.
in the prequels.
Right.
Like conflicted and stuff like that. Only I guess the opposite, because he turned bad and Kylo Ren turned good.
Yeah.
But again, I thought it was a real. I thought it was impressive that they were able to turn him around. I thought his relation. I think that what's interesting about this movie is a lot of people, I guess, criticize it because they say that it basically took what The Last Jedi did and completely got rid of everything that Rian Johnson did. And I do think to a degree they did backtrack on a lot of what The Last Jedi did. And I mean, personally, I think The Last Jedi was probably the weakest of these three movies, so that's probably why they did that. But I still think that JJ Abrams worked in the more interesting parts of The Last Jedi into this film, particularly the whole like force connection between Kylo and Rey, and I thought that was really neat. It led to some very artistically pleasing scenes where they're like fighting in their minds, I guess. Well, not quite in their minds, but kind of like that. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah. So like, what would you rate this film?
Um. Oh wait, we didn't even talk about the part where all the Jedi talk to her at the end.
Oh
We gotta
yeah.
talk about that part.
Oh, what did you think about that part? I like hearing Ahsoka because she's my favorite.
Well, I'm not a huge Clone Wars fan or anything like that. That was kind of for them. I've never watched the Clone Wars. I've heard it's great. I'll probably watch it eventually.
Okay.
But I did think it was really neat. I thought they did it in a very classy way to show that all the Jedi were with her, because honestly, it would have been real campy if they had, shown all the Jedi actually like in their blue forms and stuff. That would have been super campy and really not possible to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was neat that they had all these voices kind of talking over her, and you got to hear, your favorite characters, like you heard Obi-Wan, you heard Qui-Gon, you heard Yoda, and you heard Mace Windu, and for the Clone Wars fans, you heard Ahsoka and Luminara and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool moment. It was almost the on your left from Endgame for Star Wars. So
Oh
I
yeah.
thought that was really cool, and it was great to see her defeat the Emperor and stuff, and yeah, I really enjoyed the way they tied up the series, and that last part where her and Finn and Poe are all hugging. I think that's a beautiful scene for them to kind of close that on, and
Mm-hmm.
it was beautiful. They're all crying and hugging each other. I thought that was great.
Yeah. Are you excited for the next trilogy?
I think they should just be done.
They should be done, but we got money that needs to be made.
Yeah, I know. It's always about money.
Uh-huh.
But I think it'd be great if they were just done, because this was a nice little closer. I think they should just kind of let the series rest, make something new, or focus on the Mandalorian. I like the Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian is pretty good. I'm looking
Yes.
forward to season 2.
I too am looking forward to that.
Yeah, Ahsoka's supposed to be in that one.
So I've heard.
Yes. All right. So, what would you rate this film?
I'd give it 8.5 out of 10.
All right. Sounds good. I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Really? How come?
Because I didn't really like it that much.
No. What did you not like about it?
I just didn't like the backtracking and the whole the whole what I said was true from a certain point of view thing.
Sounds like Return of the Jedi to me, but I can understand if you didn't like it.
Okay, no problem. I do enjoy watching Star Wars though, no matter what.
Honestly, me too. That's why, I don't like there are plenty of Star Wars. There's only one Star Wars movie that I wouldn't want to watch if it was on, and that's Solo. Solo's the only one
Oh,
that
snap.
I thoroughly wouldn't want to watch.
Okay.
Everything else, even the prequels, I'll watch it if it's on because it's Star Wars.
Yeah. All right, so that's today's episode. All right. So, bye.